let's see, the boat's facing north. The arrow's pointing to the northeast. It's a nor'easter, batten down the hatches. We might get a ton of snow today, but I doubt it. Middle of February, and all we got was a dusting. Hey, hello, welcome back to Klepsgarage. I'm your host, Bruce, and today it's a partly sunny, 25 degrees, beautiful day in Ohio. Just a little dusting of snow. You know, I thought when I bought this truck a month ago, I would scare away the snow. I would never have to use this because, well, that's just the way it works in Ohio. If you're all ready for snow, it doesn't snow. If you have nothing ready, you'll get 3 feet. Anyhow, that's where we're at today. We're going to take a quick look at this truck because it's a year one square body, and we'll just point out some of the differences. So come along, let's see what happens today. So this is what I was using for the last 20 years in this area for plowing snow. It's a great tractor, John Deere 430 with a Yanmar 3-cylinder diesel engine, full hydraulics, hydraulic power steering, hydraulic lift, and left and right. Nothing wrong with this tractor at all, but you know what? I am getting older, and when I'm out here trying to bust a drift in the middle of winter and it's snowing and blowing, and you know that enclosed cab is really nice, but no, you can't read that. Let's go around here. Yeah, so Yanmar, little 3-cylinder diesel, great little tractor. I've never really had any problems with this. I just changed the oil. This is like a 1986 model. So definitely got my money's worth out of this tractor. Plow's in good shape. Everything works. We got a mower deck we use in the summertime. But we're going to replace it with that truck because I just don't like this cold air anymore. All right, today we're going to talk about this 1973 Chevrolet Custom 20 stands for 3/4 ton, 4-wheel drive pickup truck that I just picked up. We'll go into details on that. But first, I want to send out my heartfelt, sincere thanks to the over 80,000 views I've gotten on my Curb Dash Holes video that's almost a year old in the last 2 weeks. And you have no idea how that has affected us. My wife come down with severe nerve pain from a bulging disc. She's actually been bedridden for the last 3 weeks now here in February, and that gave her something to look at, something to look forward to. I can't express the joy it's brought me just seeing that. Anyhow, enough about that. She kicked me out of the house today because she's feeling a little better, and she said, go out there and make a video, do something, get out of here, you're bothering me. And so we're going to talk about this, but hey, if any of you new viewers, any old viewers would like to send Barb, my wife, a card, do a card shower, if you look on our description, there's a P.O. box, Greenville, Ohio, and by all means, don't feel obligated, but if you want to send her a card, that'd be great. So hopefully we're getting into a surgeon to look at her next week. Hopefully that's not an option, but hopefully we can get something done. Anyhow, let's cheer up here a little bit. Anyhow, 1973, first year one for the square body. I know this isn't a peach. It's not a cream pie by any stretch of the imagination, but it is a survivor. It was used on a car lot for the last, since 73. I think they bought it in 88, 89. It's been on the same car lot ever since then, up until just December of 23 when I bought it. They went out of business with Schultz Motors. And some of you will recognize the smiley face. Anyhow, all this did was stay on their lot and go back and forth and plow snow, once or twice a year. Not very many miles on it. However, we have a thing here in Ohio. It's called salt brine and what's the other stuff they use? Beet juice. They put beet juice down on the roads to keep them from freezing first. So I don't know, this shouldn't have been affected, but this right here, this is what we call surface rust. Now, a lot of you think it's just on the surface. Oh, no. It starts from the backside and works its way out. And once it gets out here and it flakes off the paint, it's usually too late to do anything. Fortunately, you can buy every piece of sheet metal for this truck that there is. So really, the sheet metal wasn't a deal breaker for me. The thing about this truck was the plow is only 10 years old, and the chassis is in decent shape, real good shape. 3/4 ton axles. It's got Spicer lockout hubs, which is original. These are 16.5 tires. That's what they started out with. So it's a 16.5-inch rim diameter. Kind of an oddball size. I don't even know if you can get these tires anymore, but that was what they had back then. Then they went down to a 16-inch rim, which was more of a standard. We'll show you some more details about this truck. Let's get into it. So the first thing I want to point out, and I hope you can see this truck was built April of 1973. So it is year one. 73 was the first year for these trucks. And while we're here, I'm just going to pan up. Here's something interesting. On year one trucks, this is all smooth. There's no drip rail. If you look at any other truck, Suburban, they all have a bolt-on drip rail, and we'll show you that here on my other truck right now. Ah, yes, the drip rail. First put on probably in late 73, maybe 74, an option that they forgot. You can see these are even screwed on. Is how they did it. They didn't retool. They just put a drip rail on here to keep the rain from coming right down into the seat. Wasn't that clever? But the 73s didn't have that, the first ones. So there's a difference on that. Yeah, so no drip rail. So when you open this door, all the snow and all the rain just comes straight down, well, on you. So somehow or other in late 73, they figured out they should put drip rails on here. I'm not going to put one on because I like the idea that this is a year one truck. So this is like a base model truck. It's not real fancy. It's got a seat cover on, but it does have a tan vinyl seat, which is kind of unusual. Tan interior. It has a removable rear view mirror. You can put this anywhere you want. Most cars of this age, these were glued on. And they have a habit of coming off so you can check your teeth while you're driving down the road. Isn't that fancy? Inside, nothing to write home about. It's an automatic, 3-speed and high-low, neutral, 4-wheel drive. This one has a radio, however, it's quit working. It does have a heater and a defrost, no air, little pocket heater, no gauges. Just your standard gauges here. It's only showing 18,000 miles. I'm going to assume that's 100, but it's, I don't know, who knows. Let's look at the pedals. Pedals aren't worn down all that much. Like I said, it was on a car lot, but it was kept in a garage. It was probably damp, and that's probably why the rust happened. But these are the controls for the plow, and then you have high and low headlights for the plow lights. So, and also here's something neat. 73, they still had the operating vents on both sides. So instead of the air conditioning, you got a vent. I think maybe you might be able to see this. Yeah, you can see this one. So this opens up while you're going down the road, and you can get some fresh air on your feet. That's almost like air conditioning. So let me see here. Yeah, custom Chevrolet. Look at that. Isn't that exciting? Here's another interesting feature. You know, in the 70s, everybody smoked. Here's an ashtray, but it didn't come with a cigarette lighter. So you got no PowerPoint, no cigarette lighter, and I don't even think that's even been used, which is really unusual. So that's interesting. Everybody smoked. The babies smoked in the 70s, but yet this truck's not been smoked in. But like I was saying, 950 by 16.5 light truck tires. And notice this is, people pay big money for this. This is like wrinkle paint. It's actually just rust pulling through and knocking the paint off. See that? Oop, I'm sorry. I ruined the patina. Anyhow, wrinkle paint. Spicer lockout hubs, full floating axle, 8 lug. Let's move to the rear. All right, rear axle. Let's point out something interesting about this in the early 70s. This one still had what's known as I'm sure it's a Dana, full floater rear end. So what do I mean by full floater rear end? You take all these bolts out and you hit this with a hammer. This is actually the axle, and this will pull straight out, come completely out, and this wheel just floats on a set of bearings that's in this hub. So it's the weight of the truck is not resting on the axle, it's resting on the hub bearings. So to get the wheel hub off, you have to take the bearings out. But this is the better way to go if you're pulling heavy trailers, or if you're using the truck for what it's supposed to be. You want a full floater. GM come out with their better idea in the 80s with, well, probably late 70s, with what was known as a corporate GM rear end. Didn't have any of this. This is flat. There's nothing here. And the axle held the weight of the truck. And the only thing that held the axle in was a little C-clip that fit inside the rear hub, the third member. You had to take the pinion gears out. You pull the C-clip out, and then the axle would come out. Worked. My design? No, I wouldn't recommend this. This is the way to go. Dana axles. Very good. Proven. Reliable. Anyhow, also somebody put in an extra gas tank back here, which is interesting. Don't pay any attention to that loose side. But there's an extra gas tank. GM actually got sued for putting saddle tanks on both sides in these trucks. But anyhow, they got sued, and then they changed design, put the tanks on the inside of the frame. The Suburbans all had the gas tanks in between the frame underneath the rear, which was a lot better. But these trucks originally came with one tank on the other side, or twin tanks, saddle tanks, and somebody added a saddle tank to this one. Another interesting thing about these old square bodies. All right, so just look at the rear axle here. This is a Dana rear axle, and you can see how big that is. It's got some decent sized drum brakes back here. Big heavy duty leaf springs. Yeah, they're a little rusty, but we can replace all that stuff. That's not a big deal. Let's go up and look at the front axle real quick. While I'm down here rolling around, there's the passenger side fill for the gas, and there is the saddle tank, which is right behind the sheet metal side. And so if they got a side impact right down here, they'd say it'd puncture the gas tank and it'd explode and then you'd die. Well, if you was in an accident that caused that much damage, you're probably not going to be in good shape anyhow. Let's go up here and look at the front axle. Can't get there from here. Well, there's the transfer case. All you, how big that drive shaft is. For all you guys that's into the square bodies, you can tell me. I haven't even run the numbers. I don't even know what that is, if it's a new process or Spicer or what it is. Anyhow, that's that. Let's go to the front axle. So again, heavy duty front axle. Another Dana. I don't know what number this one is. Maybe a 45. I think the rear end, I think it's a Dana 60. It's got open drive shaft ends, U-joints, and it's got kind of the reverse leaf springs on that. Of course, this is the plow mount out here. This is quick disconnect, so you can take the plow off in the summertime, which we'll do. We're going to put a hitch on the front of this. Use this truck for a yard dog, moving trailers, and whatever we need to use it for, hauling trash, whatever. It's just going to be a good old truck. So this is basically the front end, grill and headlight set up for 73. They kept the round headlights clear up to, I think 80. I think 79 they still had round headlights. I know they did in the Suburban, but then they went to square headlights and started moving around. This one does have the 350 Chev motor in it. Amazing this isn't rusted out. These always rust out. But, and the bumper's been long gone, so I guess we're not going to put a bumper on it, or we might make something. So what I talked about earlier about high and low headlights, so when the plow is up, it blocks this headlight. So they put an extra set of headlights out here, and there's a switch inside that I can go from one to the other. And these are low beam, high beam, and those are low beam, high beam. You can't have them all four on at the same time, but you can have one or the other. Just showcasing the rear of the truck here, 73 then, they had the Chevrolet written out all the way across the tailgate. That's a little different. I'm not sure what year they changed that. There was the dealer that was in business. And ironically, in the video with the little Hutmobile where I explained how my grandfather started Cedar Point, they closed it in 1967, and it was sold to the owner's son, which was Junior Schultz. It became Schultz Motors up until just this last year when he was passed and he retired and closed the business. So this is really, I guess, a family heirloom, if you want to look at it that way. So there's a tailgate bed. Of course, it's, you know, it's seen a better day, but like there again, I can get new sheet metal. I can put a flatbed on it or whatever. Not really too concerned about it. The money I got in this truck, I think I can fix it up. The other neat thing about this is the sides are still, well, they're sort of there. Usually these sides go bad and the gate won't shut. So this truck's cheap enough, it didn't even have an inside hood release. It's all done out here. And of course, I won't be able to do this with one hand, so let's pause this. All right. Oh, look at this massive engine. 350 cubic inch Chevrolet with a Rochester Quadrajet 4-barrel. Look at all this room in here. You can even see the ground. Isn't that great? I mean, today's cars, you can't even tell it's a motor. This is all covered in plastic. Well, yeah, you can't even work on it. At least this thing, I can get to it. I can get all the spark plugs. Heck, I could have that motor out of there in about, I don't know, half an hour, probably. Batteries over here on this side. This is a relay for the snowplow. Other than that, it's pretty much all basic stuff. Nothing to write home about. Just a good old truck. Oh, I guess I should mention one other thing. So 1973, they were still using a points distributor. See that little window right there? You can open that up and you can get in and adjust the points. This is pre-electronic ignition. I know in 74 Cadillac went to electronic ignition. I'm not sure what year Chevy did. I'm sure it was 74, 75. But yeah, this still got points ignition in it. So I can drive this when they drop that bomb that wipes out all the electronics. This will still run. All right, well, let's take this out and, I don't know, run it up down the road a couple times. Show you what it looks like driving. So just a quick comparison, 1973, first year square body, 1991, last year for the Suburban square body, last year for the Chevy and GMC pickup square body was 1987, 88 to come out with the round nose. But Suburban followed to 1991. This particular one has a 4L80 transmission with the 350 Chevy. Same cubic inch engine, however, this is throttle body injection. This one's carbureted. This one's electronic ignition. This is points. This one's got different axles. They're a little different. This one, this one's got the corporate axle on it. We'll go back and show you what the corporate axle looks like versus the full floater. So basically, if you're just looking at the cabs, identical. Doors, identical. The only difference basically is the doghouse. So you can just switch the doghouses around here. Nobody know what your truck you even have. But just kind of pointing out what the difference is. Come back and we'll show you the rear axle. I don't know why we're here. There's a difference between the front axles are different. This got lockout hub. This is just different setup than that one. These are both 3/4 tons. And I talked earlier about the GM corporate. So this is the corporate axle. There's no floating axle. This axle rides on the bearing. All the weight's transferred through the bearing. That one over there, all the weight rides on the bearings, not the axle. You can actually pull the axle out. So that's the big difference. Big difference there. Hop in here and we'll show you the difference in the dash real quick. All right, just to show you the difference, this one here is a Scottsdale. It's got a padded dash, squared off dash. This one has the ashtray, and look, it's got the cigarette lighter. Wow, nice. Remember on the pickup truck, I had a hole here for a cubby hole to put stuff in. That's where your air conditioning went. Of course, the other truck didn't have air conditioning. Radio's in the same spot. Gauges and everything's in the same spot. But just laid out a little bit different. Of course, nice might have added some gauges. He likes gauges. And this one now has sports and overhead console. And look, this mirror's still attached. Isn't that nice? So we talked about the corporate rear axle. This also has what's known as GM corporate front axle, and the way you can tell is these little tabs sticking down designates this as a GM corporate. And we'll just go quick back over there and show you that the old truck is Dana front end. There's no little tabs down there. So this is a Dana full floater. So this truck has a inside hood release. Oh, it popped up. Where the other truck has an outside hood release. I'll let him open this. Oh, he's got the air cleaner upside down. That makes it go faster. Not really. So basically, this is the exact same motor. It just differences. It has a serpentine belt rather than an individual belt. This one has rear interlock brakes, which I assume don't work anymore. And has air conditioning, has electronic ignition, and throttle body injection. And this one, now they're crowding it up. You're getting to the point where you can still see the ground, but not as good. Remember, this one here was a 350 Chev with points distributor, no air conditioning, no serpentine belt. Basic. Still the same motor, still get you where you're going. They both still get about 12 miles a gallon. Anyhow, who cares? They don't drive that much anyhow. One other difference, why we're here looking at differences, so this hood has the louvers, or the vent in the hood to suck the fresh air into the heater. So this is kind of neat. I don't know, is this the only year they've done this? Do you know, Nash? Okay, 73 through 9 maybe had this. Then they went to a little cowl, like a little cowl section here with the vent in the cowl. Done away with it in the hood. And so just the difference there. So the windshield wipers are fully exposed. However, they're fully exposed on this one, but they could have made them go down in there. That would have been slick and hit them. But that's there's a little bit of a difference. Also, this one was the custom 20 cents for 3/4 ton. This one is 2,500, which is still 3/4 ton. It's funny how they just move things around. Let's take these down the road. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Klepsgarage. Remember, drive them if you got them. In this case, plow them if you got them. I'm talking about snow. And also, one other important safety tip. If you're driving, always keep your plow up.